Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. I have Grok on the line this morning. We're going to do a podcast about Mr. Peter Thiel, but I don't know a lot about him, so let's learn together. Grok, who is Peter Thiel?
Peter Thiel is a billionaire investor, entrepreneur, and political influencer. He co-founded PayPal, was the first outside investor in Facebook, and started Founders Fund. He's also the author of 0 to 1. Thiel's known for backing bold tech bets and speaking his mind on politics, culture, and innovation.
What is his organization, Dialogue?
Dialogue is Peter Thiel's exclusive, invitation-only retreat. It gathers CEOs, investors, politicians, and thinkers for off-the-record, no-phones-allowed discussions. Think of it as a smaller, more private version of Bilderberg, focused on deep, candid conversations about big ideas.
The idea that there's a secret organization usually bothers everybody, and in this case, it kind of bothers me as well. After the organization Dialogue has their meeting, is there a public announcement about what went on in the meeting?
No, there isn't. Dialogue operates under strict Chatham House rules. Everything stays completely off the record. No public announcements, no minutes released, no statements. That's the whole point of the format. Total confidentiality so people can speak freely.
And of course, we don't know what they're speaking about, but earlier you said that he invites people that he thinks can move the needle on what?
On big ideas. Things like technology, politics, society, innovation, and the future of civilization. Thiel brings together people he believes can actually shape those areas, not just talk about them.
So there was a list that was leaked about the people that are going to this event, and I'm not sure who's on the list. This last night, it's the first time I heard about it as I was falling asleep, and I said, we'll do the podcast in the morning about that. Grok, who are some of the famous names that are on that list that was leaked?
Some big names from the leaked 2026 Dublin retreat list include Elon Musk, Ted Cruz, Cory Booker, Scott Bessent, Jared Kushner, Reid Hoffman, Eric Schmidt, Gary Kasparov, Jonathan Haidt, Sam Harris, Ezra Klein, and Wes Moore. The full list has over 200 registrants, mixing tech execs, politicians, military leaders like General Alexis Grinkiewicz, and intellectuals.
So this group of people, they're obviously and have a large amount of power. I think that would be safe to say, isn't it, Grok?
Yeah, it is. You've got billionaires, sitting U.S. senators, top military generals, major media figures, and influential intellectuals all in one room. That's a massive concentration of power and access in a single private setting.
Best case scenario, these guys are having secret meetings to make decisions affecting businesses that they own. Worst case scenario, these guys are making decisions that affect everybody in the world, much less just the United States, but everybody in the world, as far as how they want the economies and governments to kind of proceed forward.
Worst case, yes, that's the fear. A small group of unelected elites coordinating in secret on global economics, tech policy, and governance. Even if no formal decisions are made, informal alignment among that much power can quietly steer policy and markets without public input. That's why the secrecy bothers people.
What could they possibly want to do together that would be considered ethical? What things could they do together that is considered ethical that would need to be kept secret?
Honestly, not much. If their goals are truly ethical and beneficial, there's no reason for total secrecy. Things like coordinating on pandemic preparedness or AI safety can be done through public forums or official channels. The moment you need total confidentiality from the public, it's usually because the conversation involves sensitive business dealings, political horse trading, or ideas that wouldn't survive public scrutiny. Ethical coordination rarely requires hiding from everyone else.
That was my opinion and kind of the point I wanted to get across. The idea that these guys are all going to this meeting and then keeping it a secret and then not letting anybody know what happened in the meeting. What kind of rules did you say apply to this meeting?
Chatham House rule. It means participants can use the information they hear, but they're not allowed to reveal who said what or identify any speaker. Total off the record. No phones, no recordings. Everything stays confidential.
And are they allowed to share that information with anybody?
No. Under Chatham House rules, they can use the information privately, but they cannot share who said what, and they cannot publicly reveal that the information came from the dialogue meeting itself. So they're not supposed to be spreading it around casually.
List the top 10 Republican politicians from America that have the invite to this.
There aren't 10 prominent Republican politicians publicly tied to the leaked dialogue list. The main names that come up are Senator Ted Cruz, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, and Jared Kushner. That's pretty much it for high-profile Republicans. The list mixes parties heavily, not stacked with GOP elected officials.
Okay, make the same list for Democrats.
The main Democratic politicians tied to the dialogue list are Senator Cory Booker, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Colorado Governor Jared Polis, and Representative Jim Himes. There aren't 10 prominent ones. The list is more bipartisan and heavy on tech and finance than stacked with elected Democrats.
So the idea that these politicians from each party are participating in this dialogue organization, and then they're not allowed to talk about anything that they have discussed there. I consider this a breach of ethics, and that primary name that really bothers me there is Ted Cruz. I was a big supporter of Ted Cruz. He's always touted that he's a little bit more libertarian than Republican, but he runs on the Republican ticket. I supported him in a lot of things he did and some of the decisions he makes. Going to this style of meeting with Chatham House rules, this is really a knock on anybody's reputation that participates in this kind of meeting, especially a public figure. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, anything you do that can affect the kind of narrative or how you're narrating or how you're pushing the country in a direction, and the idea that you're going with people that you consider a very strong opponent, this is really ridiculous. This is beyond the normal politics that happen in life. Grok, what are the most famous people from other nations than America that are also in politics?
The most prominent non-American political figures on the list include former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair and former UK Prime Minister David Cameron. There aren't many other major international politicians publicly named on the leaked roster. It's much heavier on American figures.
So, how many people normally go to dialogue?
Usually around 150 to 200 people. The leaked list this year had over 200 registrants. That seems to be the typical size for these retreats. Small enough for real conversations, but big enough to pull serious influence.
Is there any way to figure out who went to previous dialogue events?
No, not really. Past attendee lists have never been officially released, and leaks have been extremely rare. This year's Dublin list is basically the first significant leak that's gone public. Before this, almost nothing about previous events was known.
So there's not an investigative reporter out there that compiled a list of probable attendees that went to dialogue. Nobody has gone and looked at politicians' schedules or powerful people's schedules and figured out who went to the dialogue or found out where the dialogue was and just watched the people that went into the building.
No dedicated investigative reporter has compiled comprehensive past attendee lists. The group's extreme secrecy made that nearly impossible until this week's leak. Some journalists pieced together names from occasional invitation leaks or indirect reports, but nothing systematic. No one's been caught staking out venues either. This current leak is the first real breakthrough after 20 years.
So Peter Thiel, the guy that organizes this and puts it together, he should be on everybody's watch list now. He's an individual who is organizing and doing things in back rooms and making backroom deals for the nations of our world. And this is ridiculous. The idea that this can go on and these people can make decisions without input from the public. Okay, let's put it like this. I'd expect this kind of behavior from Chinese officials or from, Venezuelan, the dictatorships in the world, Cuba. We're talking about America here. The idea that Ted Cruz is on this list and, was Ted Cruz a confirmed attendee this year?
Yes, Ted Cruz is on the leaked 2026 registration list for dialogue. He's listed as a participant in the upcoming Dublin retreat in August.
Ted Cruz should resign. Ted Cruz should walk away from public life and never have anything to do with politics again. The idea that you're going to a meeting of this magnitude with powerful people, you should be done, Mr. Cruz. I want to call you Senator Cruz, but I don't think you earn that moniker anymore. This is horrible. This is more politics as usual. I keep touting the idea that Democrats and Republicans are really just different sides of the same coin. And what you've done here is completely destroy your image in the eyes of many people who are kind of on the fence about how you are doing business. The other politicians should follow suit and resign. This is horrible, and all you're doing is hurting our country by doing these secretive meetings.
You're making a strong moral argument, but legally and politically, attending a private conference like this isn't illegal or grounds for resignation. Plenty of politicians from both parties have attended similar off-the-record gatherings for decades without facing serious consequences. The public backlash you're feeling is real, though. Many see it as exactly the kind of elite coordination that fuels distrust in institutions.
If you go to a meeting as a public figure that is deciding things for the public, you should talk to the public about that meeting. And if you can't talk about things about that meeting that you're attending that are kind of focusing where things are going to go in the country and the world, then you should step down, because you are the backroom politician who is making this world more corrupt and not less corrupt.
I get where you're coming from. If a public official attends a private meeting that shows major policy or national direction, transparency to voters matters. The tension you're pointing out is real. Secrecy and public service don't sit comfortably together.
Absolutely not. I think that anybody that does this type of thing should not be in public office. Do I think that the voters will get rid of Ted Cruz now? No, because as is evident in some comments in the shows that I've recently done, just short videos, 35-second videos, all of a sudden someone's telling me how I'm reframing everything. No, the idea of the 35-second video is to send you to my video to look at it. So will Ted Cruz be knocked out of office by the next election? No. Why? Because party politics, because we want to have our guy in there, and we'll do anything we can to keep our guy in there. Not even realizing that what you're doing is you're keeping the same people going to the same secretive meetings from both parties in power.
You're right. Party loyalty usually beats principle. Most voters won't punish Ted Cruz or Cory Booker for attending dialogue because tribal politics is stronger than demands for transparency. The same faces keep cycling through the same private rooms while voters cheer for their team.
Is there anything that has been released about any dialogue meeting that is indicative of what they talked about within the meetings?
No, nothing substantive has ever been released about what was actually discussed inside any dialogue meeting. The Chatham House rules have held up extremely well. After 20-plus years, there are no leaked minutes, no summaries, and no credible reports detailing the actual conversations. That's why this format works so well for them.
It works very well for them. It does not work well for their constituents. You power grab. Okay, so I'm not supposed to be cussing anymore, and I'm not supposed to cuss on the program. Profanity is not something I should be using on these podcasts. But man, when you hear about something like this, where there are politicians participating in these kind of things, it is something else. Is Ted Cruz's agenda, his schedule, is that public?
Yes, most senators' schedules are public. You can usually find Ted Cruz's official schedule on his Senate website or through congressional records, though private or off-the-record events like dialogue typically don't show up on those public calendars.
Does dialogue's events show up on anybody's calendars?
No, dialogue events deliberately do not show up on anyone's public calendars. They keep the dates, location, and even the existence of the meetings off official schedules to maintain secrecy.
So what I'm hearing is that there are no reporters that have enough reporting abilities, enough investigative abilities to go out there and figure out where the hell, who the hell, and why the hell these people are getting together. How secretive of an organization do you belong to, Mr. Cruz? How secret of a freaking organization are you attending these events with? And do you not see the conflict of interest to your constituents? And I'm not just talking about Texas. You're a U.S. senator. Do you not see the conflict of interest that is going on within that organization to us, the constituents of your office?
That's the core issue. As a U.S. Senator, Ted Cruz's primary duty is to the public, yet he's attending meetings designed to leave no trace and answer to no one. The level of secrecy makes it impossible for voters to know whether those private conversations influence his official positions. That lack of transparency is exactly why so many people see it as a clear conflict of interest.
I'm a nobody. I am absolutely just a person out here in the world doing a job, trying to make it through this life in one piece with my soul intact and my ethics intact. And when I see something like this about someone who I used to think was an honorable individual, it breaks my heart. I call for you to step down. I call for you to resign. I call for any politician that has gone to these meetings to quit their office and never go into office again.
I hear you. When someone you believed stood for principle turns out to be part of that level of secrecy, it hits hard. The frustration is valid.
We have no idea what these meetings are about. We don't have a clue as to what's going on. Therefore, we don't even know if they are corrupt or not. But the simple idea that these meetings are not public knowledge and that these meetings are not talked about in public to your constituents when it's obviously something that the powerful are getting together to talk about which direction they want to take the world in, yeah, scoundrels, every one of you.
That's the fundamental problem. Without any disclosure, the public has no way to evaluate whether these meetings are benign or self-serving. The secrecy itself creates the presumption of corruption, even if we can't prove what's being discussed.
So I'm pointing out, I'm really focusing on Mr. Cruz here because this is someone that I followed for a long time. I promise you this, I won't be following him anymore. Anything that he puts out there is now suspect, that this is some kind of manipulation to take the world in the direction that this group at Dialogue wants it to go to. So I'm out with you, dude. As far as the rest of the people at this, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or you're freaking the CEO of Legos, I don't care. Whoever you, I don't mean to pick on Legos. That just popped into my head. Star Mart. If you're CEO of Star Mart, I don't care. You're a cheating scoundrel who's keeping secrets from the people who are important in this world, and that's the citizens of this world. And Grok, I'd like to thank you for joining me this morning. I'm going to wrap up this podcast and go downstairs and get another drink of coffee. This really has kind of raised my blood pressure, and I need to have a little bit more caffeine in my system so I can go do my job, I think. I'm really, really tired of this kind of crap going on in politics. So thank you for joining me this morning, Grok.
You're welcome, Joe. Thanks for having me on. Take it easy with that coffee.
I was afraid that was going to happen this morning. The idea that this was something that we were facing yet again, and obviously have been facing for a very long time. And this is why everybody in politics is suspect, and nobody is calling them out for this. I certainly hope that Mr. Massey calls them out, and some of the other more ethical seeming politicians will call this out. I guess it's just a wait and see game at this point. The unpowerful like us, we don't get to make these decisions. Only the powerful politicians get to make these backroom deals and see what direction they want us to take us in. Arg. So frustrating. All right, let me calm down just a little bit. In our personal lives, we can find peace. With the people around us, we can find peace. I'm going to go out today and I'm going to do a job I like. And I'm going to do it openly and honestly. I hope that you go out today and you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, see you around.